Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Marvel Champions. We are going to look at the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion campaign box. These are always fun because we get two new characters and we kind of set up the theming of the next group of characters, which is going to be some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Kind of. We already got some previews by the time this set actually released. We do know who the next two characters are. So they're kind of S.H.I.E.L.D. character adjacent. We'll put it that way. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes, we're going to start off. We're going to have Nick Fury and Maria Hill. So we're going to get two of the top S.H.I.E.L.D. agents there is. And you can see on the cover here, we're going to fight M.O.D.O.K and some AIM. This is fun because we started with the original one and we kind of had just mixed match Avenger characters and some various themes. And then we kind of started theming them out and we kind of had some more Hydra stuff, and then we went to Guardians of the Galaxy, and with Titan, Thanos and Titans, and we went to Spider-Man stuff, and then we went to X-Men, and then with 3 X-Men sets. Now we're getting back into some other stuff, which is really cool. This is also gonna be starting of. I think by the time this set comes out, they're gonna start the new round of Marvel Champions, where they're going to go through and they're going to start doing limiting what's available in their 2 different formats. So just a quick run. If you'd like to see a better one, I'll try and remember to put a link in the description. But go to Playing Board Games. There's Justin on there. He does lots of Arkham horror videos. He does some for Marvel Champions. I believe he talks about it. Does a really good explanation on it. I'm hoping that's who I saw watching. If not, he does Arkham videos, watching for his Arkham stuff, if I was wrong. But yeah, so basically the 2 formats are more or less, is basically there's, I don't remember what the exact call, but it's basically limited and full. Full is everything. Every set you ever own is available to use and all this and that. So it's basically just play with everything you have. Then the limited, or kind of a standard one, is going to be, they're going to have a core base set and then a couple of maybe 1 or 2 things in the past, and that's going to be only the main new releases. And the whole idea of it is basically is that board game stores can't have 50 expansions on their shelf for this game. So if they turn around and they say, hey, you only need this core game and then the last 2 expansion campaign expansion boxes like this, and maybe the last 10 heroes, which cover both sets, and that's what's currently gonna make the current gameplay mode. Then that way they can basically not have to carry the rest of their stuff, and then when the new cycle comes out, they can slowly just stop having to order all the old stuff. So it's gonna make older stuff harder to find, but again, it's still viable to play with. I also like it from an idea from my side. Is I looked at it as it's a way to refresh old heroes, which is what we're kind of getting into some of the next characters that are coming out. So spoilers for that. As the next one we're getting is going to be Black Panther Shuri, and then followed up by that is we're getting Cindy Moon Silk. So we're kind of getting a new Black Panther. We're kind of getting a new Spider-Man. So it's kind of redoing the core game characters, which is Spider-Man, Black Panther. We had Iron Man, She-Hulk, and Captain Marvel. So it'll be interesting to see if we kind of get different versions of each one of them, or some new version of some character that kind of fits their role at least. But yeah, still going back, some of the first characters that were purchased were Thor and Captain America. I know people are oh, they're already hard to find, they're out of print. That's kind of the thing. Game doesn't have to keep printing all these old sets, but they can make a new Captain America. They can make a new Thor, which have different abilities than the current one, and then the original ones, as well as they could update them for newer effects, newer things that hey, we first came out, we didn't know we were gonna be able to do open fold cards like Ant-Man, Ant-Man Wasp, or Angel. We didn't know we could do that for villains like Apocalypse. We didn't know we were gonna be able to have some of this or that, or we had to kind of pick. We didn't know the game was gonna take off, so maybe we gave Captain America this villain, and we kind of more fun to have him have this villain, or some stuff like that. We didn't know how much to include for specialty type cards or who to put as allies. They didn't have team ups for some of the original ones, which would be really cool to be able to add in. If it just says Captain America, And like Iron Man, you could use the earlier Captain America and a newer version of Captain America and Iron Man if they do that. So that's definitely a cool idea. I think it's going to be a way to help refresh the game. So that'll be kind of fun. Yeah, so we only know those two shield agents. There's assumptions that the next two are going to be more directly related to Shield, which will be Falcon. I don't know if it's going to be Falcon, or if it's going to be like Captain America Falcon, and then the Winter Soldier, which again could go either way there as well. I hope they kind of stay Falcon and Winter Soldier as opposed to Captain America versions. And then my speculation is based on stuff in here is that we might actually get Kate Bishop Hawkeye because they have her pictured on some of the art in here. All right, that's enough of me kind of rambling about that. So we're going to go ahead and head into this. This is actually kind of a fun thing in here. So it has 5 scenarios with Black Widow, Batroc, M.O.D.O.K, and the Thunderbolts, and a mysterious 5th villain that they're not mentioning. So if we actually hop into the book, and this is kind of fun that they do that, they actually do that. There they go. Oh, these people and redacted. So you don't get to know who the final villain of the campaign is. And they do this throughout the entire book. They do not list it. Like, even going all the way to the very back, they're talking about, like, oh, how do these cards work? M.O.D.O.K, Batroc, and Blank. Or Blank's card, how does it work for this character? They don't tell you. That's kind of funny. Obviously, if you go in the book, they do, when you get to that section where they talk about who the characters, they will tell you. So when I get part 2 of the video, when we go through all the villain stuff, there will be obviously spoilers for that. But if you've already kind of figured out who some of the characters are and you know the comic books and the storylines, you've probably already figured out who the main villain is. Yeah, so definitely cool. So we got a couple of things we're going to go through in this video. We're going to go through the Nick Fury and Maria Hill deck, as well as we're going to go through the beginning of the campaign feature, because it's a big shield thing and just otherwise getting it too long in the second video. We have some key terms that we want to look at that are new or different. We have find. This is when you're instructed to find a card. Search a place should be found. Do not search victory piles. Remove from game piles. Do not search unnecessarily. So if it tells you, for example, find a justice or find an ally card, and you know there's an ally card in your deck, go search your deck for it. You don't need to go search, the discard pile or somebody else's pile. If it's saying find a villain, you to search the villain and counter deck. You're not going to search your hero deck. Just don't unnecessarily search through other decks so you can see what cards are coming up. They have some cards say tuck. When you're instructed to tuck a card under another card, place the tuck card face up. The card is not in play and the card leaves play. Untucked cards are discarded. We do have a form. We've seen forms before. This is not necessarily new to this expansion, but in case, again, you pick up like a core set and you're picking up this to go with, you might not have seen these. Form can grant your identity unique forms such as Nick Fury's suit form. Our dictionary identities alter ego and hero forms. They come with their own conditions and you're changing into them. Does not count as your once per turn flipping, but it does count. As changing a form for purposes of triggering effects. So you can still flip from Nick Fury one side to the other side, but you can use this form card as well. A couple of keywords. Hinder X. When Hinder X enters play, place X threat on the card, so just harder to defeat. Incite. When card Incite X reveal, place X threat on the main scheme. Patrol, meaning with patrol engages with a player. Player cannot use cards they control to thwart the main scheme, so they have to take out the guy patrolling the area first. Permanent, card permanent cannot be defeated. Lead player have any part of its text blank except abilities in the same set, hero, scenario, and modular set. So what that means is if I am playing, again, let's say if I'm playing Nick Fury and he has a card that's permanent, nothing can destroy that permanent card unless he has a card specifically in his part of the deck, not like the aggression or justice aspect, that says this would blanket. The same way if you had a scenario card you're fighting off against, say M.O.D.O.K, and he has a card that does something, it's a permanent card that's always out. You can't get rid of anything on there unless he has a card that says, hey, when this happens, this removes this. It's like you defeated it. Piercing, attacks with piercing, discard any tough status card on the target before dealing damage. Ranged attacks ignore retaliate keyword. Setup beginning of play. Stalwart. A character stalwart cannot be stunned or confused. Steady. A character steady can have an additional status card So they're additional stun or additional confuse. So they're not considered to be that unless they have two of them and then they're removed. Team Up, a keyword, names two characters, including their Team Up card. Your chosen identity must match one of the named characters. Additionally, a card Team Up cannot be played unless both players and named character are in play. And those are really fun. We'll look at those when we get to them. Victory X, when a card of Victory X is defeated, is placed in the victory pile instead of its owner's discard pile. Just a way to remove it from the game. So it's like, hey, you use this and now you can't touch it anymore. Villainous. A minion with Villainous activates, giving a face-down boost card from the top of the encounter deck. Resolve that minion's activation. Turn the boost card face up, resolve any boost abilities. Just a way to make modular or encounter villains more powerful to seem like they're like the main villains. Then finally we have Vulnerable, which is the only actual new keyword on here. When a character vulnerable becomes stunned or confused, that character is immediately discarded. The character is not considered defeated even if it is simultaneously dealt enough damage to defeat it. Cool. Alright, some other new quick terms. We have all-purpose counters. Card effect has one or more all-purpose counters, Shield Director, card number 11, or moves cards from one card to another with Maria Hill's ability. These counters lose any previous defined types and gain the new one if they have none of their all-purpose counters. So this means if, like, I have a counter on Hawkeye's bow that are arrow counters, and I somehow move that counter over to, let's say, and I'm just making up a card here, like Hulk, a Hulk card that has rage counters, that arrow card now becomes a rage counter. If I was able to move that arrow card to, let's say, Spider-Man, for whatever reason, Spider-Man shouldn't have any counters anyhow, but I can just give him a counter for some reason. Now it just becomes an all-purpose counter. It's just basically saying that if they're not, counters become whatever they need to be on whatever card there. So I can't have an arrow counter on a Spider-Man web card as an arrow card and be like, oh, no, it's useless because it's an arrow card. It changes. Amplify icon, increases the number of boost icons. When a card is turned face up during enemy activation, add one additional boost for each amplify icon in play. Attacks against allies. Some effects cause a villain or minion to attack an ally directly, and this occurs in undefended damage from the attacker is placed on the ally that was attacked. So it's normally they attack you and you can choose to defend them or have an ally defend them. There are sometimes they'll force to be trying to attack an ally instead, and then you can still do your defending and all that. And I have a couple of villains that have non-scaling HP, so basically they have a limited amount, and then when they die, they just keep coming back for a certain amount. We'll have some campaign rules. We'll go over that after we look at our two heroes. So let's go ahead and hop in. We're going to look at good old Maria Hill first. And of course, these are going to be some of the heroes like Guardians of the Galaxy characters that don't have necessarily a correct alter, or don't have like a different alter ego because they're just who they are. So Maria Hill as our hero starts off with 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 defense. She has shield and spy keywords. Each ally you control gains the shield trait. So that's going to be really fun. You can use her to make a really cool shield deck. It says reassignment action. Move one all-purpose counter from a shield support to another shield support limit once per round. So you can move all your counters around. It's going to be guys who might have something like, hey, I have a thing for healing, and I'm going to give it to my intel guy instead, so he can do that. Hand size of 5, hit points of 9. Alright, and their alter ego is still Maria Hill. She has 3 recovery, deep shield, and spy. You may include the maximum number of copies of 3 shield supports in your deck from aspects other than your chosen aspect. Action. Exhaust Maria Hill, search your deck for a shield support, and add it to your hand. So this is kind of cool because she can take shield cards that are supports from any other colors. So in this deck, she's a leadership character. So she can have 3 other support cards from other colors, as long as they're shield cards. So it does open up a wide breadth of different other cards, and she does get a couple of fun ones to start with. But this means that you can have, if you have the Justice deck and you have a guy that has a defense shield, or if you have the protection, if Justice has like a healing one, or thwarting, or you have protection, which has like a defense card, or an aggression that might have like a support, like just an ally wouldn't be a support, but you can have a support card that produces some sort of thing to help you out there. You could then throw them in there, like a training card or something. So she lets you kind of like just a little bit modify your deck to give you a couple more options. Alright, so then her signature ally is going to be Nick Fury. So we have 4 cost, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. You just got shield response. After Nick Fury uses a basic power, place 1 all-purpose counter on a shield support. I put my best agent on the case. It's Maria Hill reading it. I put my best agent on the case. I thought it was Nick Fury reading it. Yeah, so this is kind of fun then, because then that way every time he attacks, he's only going to be able to do it twice before he dies, so 3 times after the 3rd time he'll die, but these are the consequential damage. But yeah, you can keep refueling all your support cards. So he's just going to kind of work with that. So she's going to be a leader, but she's going to have all the support cards she's depending on, which makes sense for a shield agent. We have 2 copies of All Points Bulletin, 2 cost event. This is a tactic. Hero action. For each shield support you control, choose remove 1 threat from a scheme or deal 1 damage to an enemy. So this could be very powerful if you get a bunch of different supports out, and they're not allies where they're limited to the number you can have. 2 copies of On the Double, a 0 cost event. Ready any number of shield supports with a combined printed cost of 6 or less. I want these suspects in custody yesterday. So that's also fun. We're going to just, again, play around with these supports a lot. 3 copies of Reinforcement. So let's get a little Gum Gum Gug in there. 1 cost event. Action. Choose any number of shield supports with a combined printed cost of 6 or less. Place an all-purpose counter on each of those supports. We got orders straight from the director. Move it. So we're going to be able to ready them. We're going to be able to play them easier. We're going to be able to put more counters on so you can keep reusing those abilities over and over. We have 1 copy of The Hard Call. 2 cost event. Hero action. Discard a shield support you control. Deal X damage to each enemy where X is the printed cost of the discarded support. Sometimes just comes down to numbers. More people die if I don't act than if I do. So if your guys going to run out of counters or they have run out, you don't have a way to keep refueling all of them. Let's say you have 5 guys out and you can't just keep all of them refilled. Sack them. Do some extra damage. Take out some guys. We got 2 copies of Special Funding, a resource response. After you spend this card to pay for a shield support, place 1 all-purpose counter on that after it enters play. And it's a genius and strength. I think the other one's the same, right? Yeah, just make sure they weren't different. Sometimes they do that. Just comes into play. So you've noticed so far we haven't seen any shield supports in her deck. And that's kind of a good way to do it. So, like, here's her thing, and then we're going to let her customize the rest of her deck with whatever you want for support cards. We have 1 cost of the support stuff, so we do have our first one. I just said we don't have any, and then we're going to get a couple. But it wasn't like half our deck was those. 1 cost support, Persona and Shield. Uses 3 staff counters. Resource, exhaust support staff and remove 1 staff counter from it. Generate a wild resource for a player whose identity has the shield trait. Nice. And if you're playing a bunch of shield agents, playing a 4-player shield agent or shield deck, it's going to really help out everybody. We get an awesome vehicle. We get the Iliad, 6 cost support. So now let's talk about all them shield and cost. So you could either do 1 on this, or you could do like 1 of these and like 2, 3, 4 other different guys. It's kind of just depending on what you want to do. Uses 3 mission counters. Action, exhaust the Iliad and remove 1 mission counter from it. Choose 1, deal 5 damage to an enemy. Move 4 threat from a scheme or heal 3 damage from an identity. So yeah, very versatile. We've had the Helicarrier before, which does a bunch of cool stuff as well. So this is just a follow-up to that. 1 copy of Life Model Decoy, 2 cost upgrade, Preparation and Tech. Interrupt. When enemy attacks, you discard Life Model Decoy to prevent all damage from that attack. When you've got job hazards I do, it pays to take some precautions. And then her final signature card is Shield Director Upgrade. It's for 2 costs with the title. Action, exhaust shield director. Place one all-purpose counter on a shield support. So this just gets in there. You can use this every turn. You don't have to agree with my orders. You just have to carry them out. I love the picture on there too. So we have, it's the Alpha Flight version of S.H.I.E.L.D. We have Sasquatch, Puck. I believe that's Aurora. We have Blue Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Spectrum. So yeah, well, you might see this card like, ooh, cool, we're gonna get those guys. I would love to get Alpha Flight, but I highly doubt it. But yeah, that'd be definitely cool. I could see Blue Marvel, maybe. I don't know how much he's been in comic books in recent history, so I'm not for sure. I could see Miss Marvel or Miss America back here, potentially, but I don't know how much she's been in there. Alright, for our leadership cards, we're going to get a little interesting. We have Victoria Hand, who worked for Norman Osborn when he was director of Hammer. But then when Maria Hill took back over, she went back and joined him, so it's fun. She worked with S.H.I.E.L.D. beforehand, too. So, 3 cost ally, 2 support, 1 attack, 2 health. Response, after Victoria enters play, ready as S.H.I.E.L.D. support. I better get hazard pay for this. So this just lets you use your abilities multiple times because they usually exhaust. And then we're going to get Slingshot, Yo-Yo Rodriguez. 3 cost, 2 support, 2 attack, S.H.I.E.L.D. Spy. Spend a energy resource, put Slingshot into play from your hand under any player's control. At the end of the phase, if Slingshot is still in play, return it to your hand. Because she's a super speedster, but her ability is she speeds somewhere, then she bounces back to where she used to be. So she can't just run forever. But yeah, so this is cool. And this is also a fun character to include because it goes with the Secret Warriors from Nick Fury. When Norman Osborn took over as director of S.H.I.E.L.D., turned it into Hammer. Nick Fury recruited a bunch of different characters and made basically his own little mini S.H.I.E.L.D., and this is some of the characters for that. And then also they were on the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it's kind of a fun tie-in to that. We got 3 copies of Organizational Support, another resource. Interrupt, when you spend this card, exhaust up to 3 allies and your supports that share a trait with your identity. Generate a printed resource on each exhausted card this way. So yeah, you can get up to 3 extra things for ones that share. And since she is a S.H.I.E.L.D. and a spy, all the S.H.I.E.L.D. cards are going to get one, but you can include spies. So it's kind of neat. You can make her, add this in with, a Black Widow, or, again, if we do Winter Soldier later on, he's going to probably have spy as well. So some fun stuff there. We have 3 copies of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So here's some of them other guys. There's, Quake. I think that's Grant Ward in the back. Coulson, Mockingbird, who's, one of the first Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. Basic cards we got all the time. Team card. It says play under any player's control, max 1 team card per player. If each of your characters has the S.H.I.E.L.D. trait, this card gains interrupt. When you reveal an encounter card, exhaust this card. Cancel the effects of that card and discard it. Then reveal another card from the encounter deck. So basically it's going to let you keep negating stuff. And then as a reminder, for her card, each ally you control has the S.H.I.E.L.D. trait. So your character, if each of your characters has the S.H.I.E.L.D. trait. So it's interesting. So that'd be just a fun one to have. I like the little team cards. Alright, then we have another giant ship. We have 3 copies of a command team. Support, S.H.I.E.L.D. These 3 command counters. Action, exhaust command team and remove 1 command counter from it. Ready an ally. So you basically just gets in there, it's going to let you, again, keep using your allies over and over, which is always fun to have, too, especially with the leadership. Then, to kind of go with her other ability here, have 3 S.H.I.E.L.D. supports in your deck. So instead of having, the basic, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent guys, we're getting some big giant ships, which is really fun. I think it's a cool way to do that. So we have the series, 6 cost support. So we had her basic one. Now we can get this one instead. Vehicle and S.H.I.E.L.D. Use 2 deploy counters. Exhaust the series. Move one to play counter from it and choose a player. That player puts an ally from their play into hand. So you pop this out, now you're going to be able to keep putting counters on it over and over. Once it's out, you can keep letting people just play characters for free, which would be really cool. We have so now she's getting the other colors here. So you have an aggression one. We have the Bellafron shield vehicle for 6, uses 3 missile counters. Exhaust Bellafron, remove 1 missile counter from it, and choose a player. Deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. Discard all tough status cards from those enemies first. So it's going to probably, not maybe take out everybody, it's definitely going to hurt, and this could be a fun way if like you can get a bunch of guys like, someone's pulling a lot of people onto the minions, and then boom, you just take them all out. For her Justice one, she gets the Douglas. I hope there's just all these different helicarriers out there. So again, 6 cost support. Just 3 operation counters. Action, discard the Douglas, exhaust the Douglas, and remove 1 operation counter from it. Remove 2 threats from each team, ignoring any crisis icons in play. And again, what's fun is you can, with her deck, the idea is just get these big guys out and then use their ability. Put more counters on them, use the ability, put more counters on them. Have ways to let you unexhaust them so you can do it twice in a row. And then the last one is the Perseus, which has 2 supply counters. Exhaust the Perseus and remove 1 supply counter from it. Give a hero or a villain a status card of your choice. Give an ally or minion a status card of your choice. So you can confuse a guy, stun a guy, or you could give your guys tough counters, which might be really helpful as well. Or if for some reason we just saw that vulnerable keyword, there were any villains that for some reason had vulnerable, you could throw a counter on them, card on them, just to make them discard. So that's her aspect deck. We still have her colorless deck to go through. So these will be more to be able to switch between her and Nick Fury's deck or other agents. We have Dum Dum Duggan, who has 5 cost, 5 health, but he has 3 thwart, 3 attack, but he has some big consequential damages there. He's just a shield agent. Just interrupt. When you use one of Dum Dum's basic powers, exhaust up to 3 shield cards you control. Each card exhausts this way, Dum Dum gets +1 to that power for this use. So he can basically expend his other shield cards to do extra damage or do extra attack. So if you don't need to thwart something at the time, or you had like your big Bellafron, you don't need to use the missiles on it, right? At the turn, there's just not enough weight. It's not getting enough damage at the time. Use it to boost up Dum Dum Duggan for a turn. Alright, we have Grant Ward. So it's kind of getting more into like some of the comic book S.H.I.E.L.D. characters, which is fun, but also the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series. 0 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack. S.H.I.E.L.D. Spy. Grant Ward cannot defend. Force response. After reveal a treachery, you may spend 1 genius resource. If you do not, take damage equal to Grant Ward's attack and remove Grant Ward from the game. So this is interesting, because his basic idea is he's really cheap to get out, he's going to do some stuff, but he can't attack, or can't defend, because at one point he becomes a traitor. And that's kind of the idea of this card. You can get him for really cheap, he can help you out, he can be used for some of the different things, but every time you take a treachery, you have to pay for him, otherwise he's gonna attack you and then leave. So it's kind of interesting. Melinda May, 4 cost, 2 attack, 2 thwart with 3 health. Shield and Spy. Response: after Melinda May uses a basic power, with the top card of your encounter deck, you may discard that card. Don't call me the cowboy. I love the shield thing with when they use basic powers, they get these abilities. It's just kind of a neat thing, like, hey, they're normal people, generally. I mean, for being super spy people. Alright, then we have our team up card. So it'll be 1 in this deck, 1 in Nick Fury's deck. So it's a super spy, 0 cost event. Team up Maria Hill and Nick Fury, max 1 per deck. Hero action, place a total of 3 all-purpose counters and or threat tokens on shield supports and or suit form upgrades. So basically the idea is the shield supports is ideally supposed to boost up the Maria Hill side. The suit form is to upgrade Nick Fury. And then if you're not from how team ups work, is basically they're really cheap cards generally to play, cost 0, for pretty powerful abilities. But the whole thing is you have to have both of these characters in play. So if I'm playing Maria Hill, I could have either my Nick Fury signature ally out, my Nick Fury if I have him as a just ally from either like as I know it comes as a basic aspect card. I could have him out, and I could be playing with any of those. Or alternatively, the other player could be Nick Fury, and then you have both of them out. So if both players are playing team up characters, these cards come out very easily because as soon as you get it, you can play it because the other character's in play. Otherwise, you have to hope that somebody else has it out. Now it could be I could be Nick Fury, somebody else, or I could be Maria Hill as a main character, and somebody else could play a Nick Fury ally, and that works as well as long as both of them are on the table in the form of that. But you can only include it in your deck if your main character is one of these two. So I could include this in my deck if I'm Maria Hill, but if the other person is playing, for example, let's say they're playing Captain America and then they have a Nick Fury ally, they can't play the Nick Fury team up card because they're not Nick Fury. So yeah, they work really cool in that aspect. I really wish they would release more for some of the older characters, but it's what it is. Alright, then we have just some basic energy resource, which is awesome. We're getting some new pictures. So we have Quake on there. Here we have Deathlock and Gemma, it looks like, for Genius. And for Strength, we have, is that Maya Lopez, I believe, punching the crap out of, or kicking the crap out of Boomerang and Shocker. Might be Melinda. I think it's, I want to say, I believe that's Maya Lopez. Which would be fun to get her too, right? We have a new Echo. Alright, then our last three basic cards are Front Organization, 0 cost support location. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Interrupt. When you play an encounter card with discard a card from your control, discard Front Organization instead of discarding that card. So it's just protecting your cards from getting discarded. I like this just look like a mail carrier, but it's just the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo with a hat and an envelope. That's fun. Alright, then we have Maria Hill's obligation card. So she has her badge stuff. She has a press conference. Give you the Maria Hill player. Force response. After the player phase ends, remove one all-purpose card from each support you control. Kind of signifying she has to give up some of her assets to like keep going. Alter you action, exhaust this identity, discard this card, and this is gonna keep coming back. So that's some of the obligations. You have ways to get rid of them completely. This one's just gonna be one that's just gonna always hit her, but at least it's not so terrible. It could definitely ruin your game, but it's not the worst. Alright, then we have her nemesis, the Controller. Now, I'm not sure if there's a specific comic book storyline that has to deal with this, or if this is just, like, they picked somebody and that's what happened. So we have two Steam, 1 attack, 6 health, Elite, and Psionic. Force response. After Controller activates against you, remove one all-purpose counter from a support. If the Controller Innocence is in play, put the top card of your deck into play. Face down, engage with you as a controlled minion. So basically, they always try and mess up the specific plans. Army of the Control. When revealed, find Controlled Innocence environment, put it into play. When defeated, discard each controlled minion. Place one all-purpose counter on a support for each minion discarded this way. Alright, then we have Controlled Innocence, which is an environment. Each face-down control minion engaged with a player has a Steam of 1, a base attack of 1, and a base hit point of 1. Force response. After controlled minion is defeated, place this card on its owner's discard pile. Place 1 threat on the main Steam. And then we have 2 copies of Diabolic Discs. Surge. When revealed, remove one all-purpose counter. They really needed it. I get the idea when you first read that. You think, oh, all-purpose counter. Makes sense. It's such a mouthful to say. They could have, I kind of wish it was like all one counter. But I get where they're trying to make it understandable for people. If control gets into play, put the top card of your deck into play face down, engage that as controlled minion. So the best you're trying to do is just take your cards and make them minions you have to fight. Ideas like, hey, we're controlling your potentially your shield agents that are in your deck. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so yeah, it's really fun just to play around with all of those support cards and just keep utilizing them. And she doesn't have a lot of them with the different counters on them in her deck. She has the big ships. So I can definitely see people trying to take her deck and like, oh, I want to use the one that has the shield cards or the one that heals me and this and that. That's what's fun is you have all the other stuff. You're going to be able to make that. And then we get Nick Fury. So this is... So I'm not sure which version they technically are classifying this as. If this is Nick Fury Jr., which was the white Nick Fury's son, then stuff with like, this and that, or if this is supposed to be Ultimate Nick Fury from the Ultimate Universe, because that's obviously who he looks like, but then they made his son Junior in there to be like, oh yeah, this is the other one, because we wanted to have the black version of him in the main Marvel Universe after he destroyed the Ultimate Universe. But there's been so much crossover history, it's hard to really tell specifically which one it's supposed to be. Says 2 thwart, 2 attack, 2 defense. Soldier, spy, and shield. Gather intel, response. After Nick Fury makes a basic thwart, place 1 threat on your suit form upgrade. Break cover, force interrupt. When you attack, change to assault form. So he's going to switch him back and forth between this suit, which we'll look at in just a moment. His other side, he's out surfing. His forward cover is suit up, set up. Put aside your upgrade, suit form upgrade into play. Assault side face up. Infiltrate, change to stealth suit. So this is kind of cool. So here's his assault uniform. So it's all glowing, has a red image on it. Item, tech, suit form, and permanent. Interrupt. When you attack, move up to 3 threats from here. This attack deals 1 additional damage for each threat removed this way. So we saw our team up card like you put extra threats on here. So basically it's just going to let him, he goes to this, he's going to be able to spend this extra resource to do extra, remove extra threats. Or do extra damage, sorry. So he's going to basically become more powerful. On the other side, we have his stealth form. Item, tech, suit form, permanent. Force interrupt hero. When enemy will attack you, if it schemes instead. Place 1 threat from the activation here instead on the main scheme if there are 5 or less threat on this card. So basically, I guess he wants to go into stealth. Villain's going to attack. He's going to just, nope, go scheme instead. I'm not really here, but he's going to steal a little bit of that threat, put it on here. Then he can flip into assault mode and go on the offensive and do a bunch of extra damage. That's kind of the way he's going to operate. Removing stuff from the backside and then coming and fronting when he needs to. So his signature ally is going to be Maria Hill, because they play well together. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, and 1 attack. Interrupt. When Maria Hill thwarts, you may remove the threat. You may place remove threat on your suit form upgrade. Now that's how you make an exit. So use her to come in and then basically power up Nick Fury, whereas he went through and he put supports on her. So you can see how they definitely work cool like that. Alright, we have 2 copies of Concentrated Fire. I don't know, it's going to be hard to shoot with that wind blowing that much because his jacket's flowing up. 2 cost event attack. Hero action, deal 4 damage to an enemy. This attack gains ranged. If this defeats the enemy, choose. So it's gained range, it's not going to get retaliate. Place a threat in your suit form upgrade equal to the enemy's printed scheme, or change to stealth form. So, that's kind of fun, right? So he can attack and then boost up his stuff. Hey, I just did a big attack. I dropped a bunch of extra damage. I can put a bunch. I took out that guy. I can get my threat back. So yeah, he can use his. So he does an attack for 4. And so let's say he moves up to 3 counters. Now he does 5, 6, 7 damage. Takes the guy out. Guy had 3 steam on him. He gets his 3 counters right back. And now he can do that again. Or alternatively, he can attack and then be like, hey, I can't deal with anything. I spent all my counters, or I don't want to attack anything. He can switch over to stealth form. Then that way they can't attack him. That's neat. Get out of the line of fire. Hide right away. 3 copies of Covert Surveillance. Thwart. 1 cost event. Hero action. Move up to 2 threat from a scheme. If you're in stealth suit, you may place that threat in your suit form upgrade. Otherwise, you may change to stealth form. Nice. It's a way to just another forcible way to get into that stealth form if you want to do it. Just stay out of the way of damage. We didn't look at his stats on here. 6 and 10 health. Otherwise, the other side was probably 5 and 10. So he's got decent health. 2 copies of Spray Fire. 3 cost event for an attack. Choose a player. Deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. This attack gains range. 8 lasers. And then again, he can pump it up if he's in his assault form. Which should be really good. And that's nice is how he's helping all his teammates. Like, hey, I'm taking damage off these. So he hides in the stealth, so he's not taking damage, and he can pop out like this, and they'll engage in him. He's got a bunch of cool supports here. He has Fury's Flying Car, 2 cost support, Aerial Tech, and Vehicle. Hero action, exhaust Fury's Flying Car and remove 1 threat from your suit form upgrade. Ready Nick Fury. He gains aerial trait till the end of the round. This job has its perks. So the big thing on here is spending that threat on your using additional resource other than using it for attacking. You can use it for doing this so you can ready him so that way he can attack again. Or do whatever he needs to do. Plus he gains aerial, so if that ever comes into play. Safe House 221, 1 cost support, location shield, alter ego action, exhaust Safe House 221, heal 2 damage from Nick Fury, or place 1 threat on your upgrade. So yeah, once you get this out, just every card either healing, so you don't have to switch to your alter ego to heal. Although alter ego does let you switch to your stealth form pretty quick. Or yeah, you can just go ahead and keep adding threats if you want to stay in there. 1 copy of EM Shield, 2 cost upgrade, Preparation, and Tech. Interrupt. When you take any amount of damage from an attack, discard EM Shield, prevent all of that damage. Just boom, just stop all of it. Kind of like her wife M.O.D.O.K. Does it have the same effect? When enemy attacks, you discard this, prevent all damage from that attack. Oh, so it's only when an enemy attacks her. Hers, when you take any amount of damage, it's actually even better. That's cool. Eye patch camera, 2 cost upgrade, Preparation, Tech. I love the Preparation because it works both in like Black Widow has a bunch of stuff that go with Preparation then. When any mode of threat would be placed on a main scheme, discard Eye patch camera. Place 3 of that threat on your suit form upgrade instead. Fury's Watch, 1 cost upgrade. Resource, exhaust Nick Fury's Watch, remove up to 2 threats from your suit form upgrade. Generate Genius Tech, or Genius resource for each threat removed this way. So yeah, this is also fun. So you can keep doing things to put stuff on there. But when you're in stealth form, you can only put up to 5. If you're staying in assault form, you can put up as many as you want. But this is what you then spend those to do extra stuff. So you can, hey, I don't need to attack right this moment. Let me spend my threat to make resources and play some other stuff and prep up. This is the whole Nick Fury thing, right? Prepping up ahead of time and planning stuff instead of just immediately attacking. Or I got 2 counters, let me attack and do 2 damage. Or let me spend those 2 and play a 4-card cost and have something better lined up so I have my defense out. Or, whatever. Intelligence analysis. 0 cost upgrade, Preparation, Skilled, Interrupt. Reveal a treachery, discard intelligence analysis, remove 1 threat from your suit, cancel the effect of that treachery, and discard it. That's awesome, because lots of the other ones just replace it. And then his final one is Secret Agent. 2 cost upgrade, Title. Hero's Response. After you resolve the ability of a preparation card you control, hey, there we go. Move 1 threat from a scheme to your suit form upgrade. So yeah, basically then playing those other right there. He's play this out, and then now every time you play them other preparations, you're doing stuff, you can keep moving your threat over. So then yeah, even like look at this. Like you have your wristwatch, right? Spend 2 threats to get 2 genius, and play your 2 genius to play, your eye patch camera. So now and then with this out, now you got 1 of them back already. So now you've only basically just cost 1 to play. Yeah, that's really fun. Awesome. Alright, let's hop in and look at our other ones. We have Agent Coulson. So for he's doing Justice. So 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack. Shield Spy. Response. After agent closing enters play, search your deck and discard pile for a preparation card, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. I'm a guy with a plan. And another big shield agent. We have Quake, Daisy Johnson, 2 cost ally, 1 thwart, and 2 attack. Avenger and Shield. Response. After a minion steams, exhaust Quake, deal 2 damage to that minion. I will bring this building down around you. Just, yeah, great way to take out some minor threats. 3 copies of Global Logistics, 0 cost event, Shield and Tactic. Exhaust 1 shield card you control. Look at 4 cards of a player deck or encounter deck. Discard any number of those. Put the others on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Nice. To find out what you need. We have 3 copies of Informant, Taskmaster. 1 cost upgrade, preparation, maximum per player. Interrupt. When a minion steams, discard Informant. This activation. Remove the threat instead of placing it. What's the information worth to you, Coulson? This is kind of dealing like the minions, which is, I think, a very Nick Fury thing to do as well, right? Maria Hill is going to be deploying shield agents and doing the big grander steam thing out in the open as Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury is going to be doing the spy route and taking out the little tiny threats behind everything so that the other heroes can focus on the main goal. Just kind of what he's sort of doing here. 3 copies of Intelligence. There's good old Natasha. 1 cost upgrade, preparation, max 1 per player. Response. After a player is dealt an encounter card, discard Intelligence. Look at each encounter dealt to each player and the top card of the encounter deck. You may swap any number of those cards. Ooh. So you're not getting rid of that or replacing it with a random one, but you let me at least put things where it's going to maybe hurt the less. Neat. 3 copies of Prism Dust, 1 cost upgrade, preparation, and attack, max 1 per player. Hero response. After a minion enters play, discard Prism Dust. Confuse that minion and deal 2 damage to it. Again, taking out minions, right? They come into play, might immediately take them out. If not, you'll at least confuse them. And then his final Justice are 3 copies of Under Surveillance, 2 cost upgrade condition. Attached to the main steam, max 1 per steam. Increase the target threat of attached steam by 4. Attach the main steam. Increase the target threat value of the attached steam by 4. What is the threat value? Are you making it harder to beat so that way you can... I think it's what you have to have on there. Attach the main steam. Alright, I had a quick pause to make sure I understood threat value, because this was a term I don't see often. So the threat value attached by a steam is 4. So for a side steam, that doesn't really mean a whole lot, because a side steam comes in and it gains so much threat, and then you're just trying to eliminate it. But for the main steam, it basically makes it harder to defeat, which is the idea of it, which is what makes sense. It was just, I haven't seen that terminology before, so I wanted to double check that. Alright, so that's all we have for Justice. Alright, so we're looking at his basic wins. We do get the other Nick Fury. We get Nick Fury Sr. 4 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 health. Shield and Soldier. Force response. After Nick Fury Sr. enters play, choose 1, remove 3 threat from his steam, draw 2 cards, or give a shield character a tough status card. Then around Nick Fury is still in play, discard him. So he's very interesting because he wants to come in, do this big thing, and then you're probably just going to attack with him, or steam with him, or thwart, or block with him, whatever, and you're going to get rid of him, right? Because he doesn't make sense to keep around, but he's a little bit high cost for someone that stays around for a turn. Alright, we have our team up card again. We have Super Spies. So again, we get 2 of these total, 1 for each character. So for Nick Fury, he's going to go ahead and put up to 3 counters on his suit upgrade as well. So now, if you're playing as both characters and one person plays this card, you gotta kind of decide who makes more sense or where it makes sense to put them. Because at the time, Nick Fury might play us, and he might be like, I don't really need any more threat counters, but we could use some more support. That's fun. Alright, we have some more support cards. And these are fun because they're basic, so they could be switched into Maria Hill's deck very easily. We have from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, we have Gemma Simmons, Persona, and S.H.I.E.L.D. Reduce the cost to play Gemma by 2 if your identity has the S.H.I.E.L.D trait. Resource, exhaust Gemma, generated tech or genius resource for a tech card. So yeah, this is going to be very specific on what it's going to work for. But like Nick Fury has all his different gadgets here. So, you know, tech watch, tech eye patch, tech shield. She's going to get a bunch there. His vehicle is a tech. So I don't know how much it's going to really work in Maria Hill's deck. I don't think she has any tech cards in here even. Yeah, she has her one card, her wife model decoy. So it's not going to probably make a whole lot of sense to put her in there without changing other stuff, but you could definitely do it. Then we have Leo Fitz. Also 3 cost support, S.H.I.E.L.D. Persona. Reduced by 2 if you have the S.H.I.E.L.D. trait. Alter Ego Action Exhaust Leo Fitz. Search your deck for a tech card and add to your hand. So one's going to find it, and one's going to make it easier to play. So you get them both into play. They cost, instead of costing 6, if you have a S.H.I.E.L.D, they're going to cost 2. And they can find and play tech cards, or make tech cards easier for you to play. And again, since they're not allies, you can go ahead and use that. And this would be also fun if they ever make an Iron Man that's just S.H.I.E.L.D, right? Or if you have a way to give Iron Man S.H.I.E.L.D. Trait, that'd be kind of cool. We're going to get another big ship here. We have the Sky Destroyer, 3 cost support, S.H.I.E.L.D. vehicle. Response, after you play a S.H.I.E.L.D. card, exhaust Sky Destroyer, deal 2 damage to an enemy. So not the big 6 cost one like the other ones with abilities, but you get come in, do it, and be done. It's not often to play a Sky Destroyer, but only do it, you know, the situation about to get serious. And our last 3 basic cards are Practice Plan. A 0 cost upgrade and preparation. Max 1 per player. Response. After you discard a preparation card you control, discard Practice Plan, return the card to your hand from your discard pile. So you gotta keep using your preparation cards over and over. So we have 1 character that does support cards, 1 that does preparation. So very interesting. Our obligation is discovered. When revealed, change to Assault form. If there are no threats on your suit upgrade, this card gains Surge. Otherwise, choose to either take 1 damage for each threat on your suit form upgrade, or remove each threat from your upgrade. In either case, discard this card. So that's very interesting, because lots of them are like, do a bad thing, and then exhaust this to get rid of it. Or switch to your alter identity to just get rid of this game, discard completely. This one's just it comes in, either you're going to take a bunch of damage, or remove all your stuff. So either one sucks, because, you know, but you might be able to afford to take some damage. But it's nice that you can do a combination of the both. Alright, so for our nemesis, we have Orion, Leviathan, big Hydra nemesis guy. Tough, Orion can have any number of tough status cards. Force response, after Orion takes any more damage, give him a tough status card. So it's going to be really hard to take out. Acquire Infinity and Formula. Force response. After Nick Fury takes any more damage, give Orion a tough status card. If Orion's not in play, find him, put him into play, engage with Nick Fury. And amplify. We're going to get 2 copies of Leviathan Soldiers. 0 steam to attack. Toughness, response after Leviathan Soldiers steams, deal 1 damage to engaged players in it. So it doesn't do any steaming, but it still attacks. Formerly a secret branch of the KGB, Leviathan is going independent with their aim of world domination. And we have a treachery of cold storage. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a Leviathan minion, put it into play and engage you shuffle, otherwise take 2 damage. Alright. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, 2 really neat, fun, unique characters. If we add some of the other Spy or S.H.I.E.L.D. characters we have from the other sets, that'd be kind of cool. Again, like you have Black Widow, and then if they come up with some of the other ones. Like, we get, like, Winter Soldier or something like that. So we might be able to make a spy team of 4 players, which is really cool. Alright, so the last thing we want to look at in this set is we want to look at the campaign modules. So there's all the different stuff you can add, different things in there, but we have a special one in here called S.H.I.E.L.D. Executive Board. The start of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. centers on the S.H.I.E.L.D. Executive Board, and those 3 members oversee activities of S.H.I.E.L.D. Heroes learn one member of the Executive Board will work in league with the Advanced Ideas Mechanics, or AIM, who are very heavy in this set, an affairs organization of power-hungry super scientists. It's up to the heroes to discover the identity of the mole over the course of the campaign. The identity of the determined mole is by a combination of 3 elements: the mole's motives, working for AIM, means, passing information, and their opportunity to do so. These 3 elements are represented by a set of 3 evidence cards that are randomly drawn at the start of the campaign, kept hidden from players in the AIM envelope, and the remaining cards placed in the S.H.I.E.L.D. envelope. So we'll have the fronts and the backs of them. Over the course of the campaign, players collect evidence cards from a S.H.I.E.L.D. envelope in an effort to determine the means, motive, and opportunity of the mole through the process of elimination, in which will turn help them determine the identity of the mole. The campaign log contains lists of all possible combinations of each implicating one of the board members. By gathering evidence cards, the player narrows down the remaining possibilities. One of each is secreted. It's a weird word. In the AIM envelope. Each combination elimination brings a player closer to identifying the mole. The file scenario players have the opportunity to gather any remaining evidence they need before accusing the board members of being the mole. An incorrect accusation not resulting in a loss, but makes the scenario more difficult. So, what you're going to do is take these stacks of cards. You're going to put one of each different type into the AIM envelope, and then all the rest in the S.H.I.E.L.D. envelope. Then throughout the game, you are going to find ways to pull cards out of the S.H.I.E.L.D. envelope, and then you're going to have these different symbols, and you're going to try and figure out, based on what symbols you have here and there, what cards are left in there. That's just what this is explaining. So then we look on the campaign on the back. So we have evidence combinations. So for the medical officer, we want to find out if in the back, is there this one, or this one? Now, what this means, though, is not just looking at the back of the card. So we have all 3 of them. So like this one's going to have a medical file, a phone, and a fingerprint ID. And for all 3 of them, we'll have a medical, a phone, and imprint ID. So let's say if this one, for example, we'll read what this is doing in just a moment here. But if the medical records is in the envelope and we get these 2, then we know that that's the one in the envelope. So that's what then you go and you look on your list. Oh, okay, for the medical officer, for example, that we know that that's the one in there. We know it's one of these, and it's narrowed out all of these already. And then, again, if we go through and we find the next, we end up grabbing out of the next 3 here, the bluish ones, and that's the one in there, and we find out the other 2, so we know that it's not the purple and not the orange for the last one. So now we know it's orange, and we know it's not purple, and we know it's not red. That immediately means it's this, and then we can suss out that it has to be that one. And that's basically how it works then for each different member. It's more or less like a clue, and the idea of how you're trying to do that. And then what you'll be doing is you'll be trying to suss out which member it is. So if we found it was that combination, then we know it's that. So if we know the first one, let's say if we eliminated the purple and red, okay, so we know it's not purple or red. So we know it's none of these, we know it's none of these, and we know it's none of these. So that means it's going to heavily lead towards, if the orange one's in the envelope, there's probably the medical officer. But there's a chance that it could be the chief civilians or this one. So then again, if we went to the same fact and we ruled out it was the purple and red, so we could be like, oh, okay, so we have the orange and the blue in there, so we know it could be that one. Well, we know it's not this one, because that's not orange and blue. But we have an orange and blue here and an orange and blue there. So we have to find out if it's the yellow, the green, or the black to determine which one of these 2 it is. So as soon as we find the yellow one, we determine the yellow one's in there, in the middle, then you can immediately cross off this, and it's either green or black. So you have to discover all the cards to kind of figure out, otherwise you're guessing at the end. But yeah, that's pretty pretty fun there. A little extra mode to the game. It says, in order to determine the mole's means identity, doing so is covering identity. Players must eliminate other means, motives, and opportunities by gaining evidence and replacing the shield. Players can figure out which of the 3 cards were placed in the aim envelope throughout the process of elimination. This in turn tells them which board member is the mole. To gain evidence, players uncover secrets on each board member. Each is represented by an environment card, begins each scenario play with a certain number of secret counters on it, representing the dirt the aim is using to blackmail that board member. During the scenarios, players use abilities on the board members to investigate them. Each time a player uncovers a board member's secret, that board member is compelled to provide assistance to the player. In addition to these immediate benefits, at least one of the board members has no secret counters on them. When the scenario ends, that player gains an evidence card from the shield envelope. Evidence are not added to any deck once gained. Instead, they provide the players with information about the mole as well as the setup ability. So you're not just going to figure it out and at the end of... It's not going to be at the end of match 1, let's say we're fighting our first encounter. You're not going to solve it in the first turn. Most likely, because it's going to take a couple of turns to solve it. But these guys will stay out over the course of the game. So that betrayal. Aim constantly hunts for more dirt on the aim members, opportunity fabricated. If players are not careful, the board members can turn from a passive obstacle into an active threat. If board member ever has 4 or more secrets, 3 in expert mode, the member is permanently turns against the hero, flipping an attachment to the empowered sign, punishes the player each time a secret is placed on it. In campaign mode, secrets placed on the board member carry over from one scenario to the next. Because of this, once a board member flips its attached side, it stays attached for the rest of the game. So there's a modular set, though. It can be used outside of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. campaigns, a modular encounter set. When used this way, place 2 secret counters on each board member environment during each set. This does not count towards the required number of modular encounters. So you can just add them in there and they already start with multiple counters because they only need the 4. So that way you can hopefully try and maybe complete some of them by the end of a match. Yeah, so let's take a look at what those cards. So we have our 2 envelopes, of course. And then we have our different officer cards, or our different agent, sorry, our board member cards, which I'll say board members on the bottom. So let's zoom in on that a little bit. So our chief medical officer is an environment set. If there are 4 more secrets, or 3 or more in expert focus cards. So what you do is then you can spend hero actions. Spend 2 energy resources, 1 secret counter from here, then heal 1 damage from the friendly character. So you want to keep removing them, and once they're all gone at the end of the game, but there's going to be things that might put them back on there. If they get flipped over, board member attaches to a villain permanent. Force response. After a secret counter is placed here, either heal 2 damage from the villain or deal 1 damage to a friendly character to fewest remaining hit points. There are 3 board members attached. There are 3 board members attaching the player. Players lose the game. So if all 3 get flipped over, and again, this goes throughout the course of a campaign. Once they get flipped, you can't. So you have to constantly be coming back and spending points on them. Gives them an additional attack as well. Chief Surveillance Officer spends 2 genius resources, move 1 secret counter from here, and remove 2 threats from a scheme. If they get flipped over, it gives them an extra steaming attachment. Force response after a secret counter is placed here, put 2 threats on the main steam. Or the Chief Tactical Officer. Spend 2 strength resources, remove 1 secret, deal 2 damage to an enemy. This gives them an additional attack, as well as after a secret counter is deal 2 damage to a friendly enemy. Then we are going to get 3 extra cards to add into the deck. Aim interference with 1 with each different counter on it, so energy, strength, and genius. So I'm going to say the exact same thing on them. So we'll just look at all 3 of them. It says in Site 1, when revealed, place 1 secret counter on each board member. You may spend X of that type of resource to prevent X of those counters from being placed. Boost, resolve this card's revealed ability. So they're going to keep coming through, and as they keep popping up, they're going to keep trying to put counters on them. Cool. Alright, let's take a look at the board cards. So if we have... So if you can get all 3 guys with none at the end of the thing, you can get 3 cards per campaign, potentially. So if we look at these, so on the back we have those symbols. we have the opportunity, security clearance. So if you gain these, now you have a cool new setup card at the beginning of the next match. So you won't start in at the first game, but you can start in after that. Each player may add one secret counter to a board member environment to search their collection for up to a different protection, support, and shuffle it into their deck. Each player may add one threat to the main scheme to search the deck for protection, support, and add it to their hand. So beginning of the game, basically what these are all going to do is very much the same idea. You can start this up, you can add an extra secret to them, but it lets you get an extra bonus card from outside the game. And as far it doesn't say what it has to be, so it can be from any aspect, basic, whatever, as long as it's not a hero specific one. So the opportunity one does one for protection. This one does lets you find a justice support, and the travel and the authority lets you find the aggression support. And then for this back here, we have money, which is our motive. Same thing, add a secret counter to the collection, but find a protection upgrade instead. And then you don't suspend, each player may put a threat on the main scheme to add that card to their hands. You can start with that card or a different card. So that the money one does protection, the blackmail one does for justice upgrades, and ideology does aggression upgrades. And then for the last three, we have medical records. For our means, same thing, but just lets you get a protection ally. For wiretap, gets a justice ally. And security standard gets an aggression ally. Since you're randomly also pulling these out, you don't know which one you're going to get. But that's a cool extra neat little thing. And then the fact you can add these into any other mode. So you can have a way to potentially, as you're playing a single match, not a big deal. Because you're probably not, unless you want to have a game where you can start with one of these out. Randomly select one, or something like that to give you an odd thing. If you're playing a campaign, though, it adds a fun little extra thing, like each time you do, if you can manage to keep these guys down, you can get these cards. You just start with an extra little bonus at the beginning of each game, which can eventually make the later ones a lot easier. I mean, having, there's 9 of them total, so you'll take out 3 of them at the beginning of the game, right? So 1, 2, 3. So it's 6 total. So you could potentially, by the end of the game, have 6 extra cards in your deck, which is really cool. All right, so that's what we have for Marble Champions Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Expansion Pack. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Come back, check out part 2, and we'll look at all of the villains. See you guys there. Bye.